Did you know that Iran and Israel were once allies? It sounds impossible today, but their history is far more complex than the headlines suggest. Let's rewind the clock over 2,500 years to understand how we got from friendship to rivalry. Our story begins in the ancient Persian Empire under Cyrus the Great. In 539 BC, Cyrus conquered Babylon and did something remarkable. He freed the Jewish people who had been exiled there. Not only did he allow them to return to Jerusalem, but he also funded the rebuilding of their second temple. This act of liberation is celebrated in the Hebrew Bible, where Cyrus is hailed as a Messiah-like figure for centuries. This event forged a deep-rooted historical and cultural bond. Jewish communities thrived in Persia for generations, contributing significantly to its culture and society. This mutual respect and coexistence formed the bedrock of their relationship for a very long time. Fast forward to the 20th century, in 1948, when the State of Israel was declared. Iran was one of the first Muslim-majority nations to recognize it. Albeit de facto recognition at first, this might seem surprising, but during the Cold War, both nations had a common interest. They were both non-Arab states in the Middle East, and both were strongly allied with the United States to counter Soviet influence and the rise of Arab nationalism led by figures like Egypt's Gamal Abdel Nasser. This shared geopolitical strategy blossomed into a surprisingly close partnership. Under the Shah of Iran, Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, the two countries developed extensive ties. We're talking about robust trade, with Iran becoming a major oil supplier to Israel. Israeli agricultural experts and engineers helped with Iran's development projects. Their militaries and intelligence agencies, including Israel's Mossad and Iran's Savak, collaborated closely on training and information sharing. It was a pragmatic alliance, a periphery doctrine where non-Arab states worked together to balance the power of their Arab neighbors. To many, it seemed like a golden age of cooperation, built on a foundation of ancient history and modern strategy. But then, everything changed. The year was 1979, and the Iranian Revolution swept the Shah from power, replacing his monarchy with an Islamic republic led by Ayatollah Khomeini. This wasn't just a change of government, it was a radical shift in ideology that completely upended the region's dynamics. Khomeini's worldview was fundamentally anti-Western and anti-imperialist. He saw Israel not as a fellow non-Arab state, but as an extension of the United States, what he called the Little Satan, and an illegitimate entity occupying sacred Islamic land. Immediately after the revolution, Iran severed all diplomatic and commercial ties with Israel. The Israeli embassy in Tehran was famously handed over to the Palestine Liberation Organization. The narrative shifted from partnership to outright hostility. Iran's new leadership positioned itself as the champion of the Palestinian cause and a leader of the axis of resistance against Israel and American influence in the Middle East. The centuries of friendship were erased by a new revolutionary doctrine from the 1980s onward. This ideological conflict escalated into a proxy war fought across the Middle East. Iran began funding and arming groups hostile to Israel. The most prominent of these is Hezbollah in Lebanon, which was formed with Iranian support following Israel's 1982 invasion. Iran also backs other groups like Hamas and Islamic Jihad in the Palestinian territories. For decades, these proxies have been the primary tool for Iran to exert pressure on Israel without engaging in direct state-to-state warfare. This has led to numerous conflicts, including the 2006 Lebanon War and countless smaller clashes, creating a constant state of tension along Israel's borders. The shadow war between the two nations also extends into the realms of intelligence and sabotage. There have been assassinations of Iranian nuclear scientists, which Iran blames on Israel's Mossad. Mysterious explosions have rocked Iranian military and nuclear facilities. In return, Iran has been accused of planning attacks on Israeli diplomats and tourists around the world. It's a covert battle fought in the shadows. A dangerous game of cat and mouse with incredibly high stakes. The biggest flashpoint in recent years has been Iran's nuclear program. Israel views a nuclear-armed Iran as an existential threat, a danger that cannot be tolerated. Israeli leaders have repeatedly stated that they will do whatever it takes to prevent Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon, including military action. Iran, on the other hand, insists its program is for peaceful energy purposes. This standoff has led to intense international diplomacy, like the 2015 nuclear deal, and periods of heightened military alert. The debate over Iran's nuclear ambitions remains the central and most dangerous aspect of their rivalry today. Now, the conflict has spilled over into new domains. Cyber attacks have become a common feature of their rivalry, with each side targeting the other's critical infrastructure, from water systems to port operations. Furthermore, the civil war in Syria created a new front. Iran moved in to support the Assad regime, establishing a military presence close to Israel's border. This led to hundreds of Israeli airstrikes inside Syria, aimed at preventing Iran and Hezbollah from setting up a permanent base of operations from which to threaten Israel. What started as an ideological clash has now become a direct, albeit undeclared, military confrontation on multiple fronts. So, from ancient allies to modern-day archenemies, the story of Iran and Israel is a powerful lesson in how politics, ideology, and revolution can transform relationships. It is a journey from Cyrus the Great's decree of freedom to a complex and dangerous geopolitical rivalry that shapes the entire Middle East. What was once a partnership built on shared interests has become a conflict defined by deep-seated animosity and a struggle for regional dominance. Understanding this long and winding history is crucial to making sense of the headlines we see today. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this journey through history insightful, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next deep dive. See you next time.